Hi class, I'm Professor Davin Strong, and this is SpankU. I've spent a long time in the adult industry being one of the biggest, most sultry boys. And being a big boy comes with big responsibility. The biggest of which is making sure that I make sure that my scene partners and my casual partners are taken care of. The best way to take care of my partners is by making sure that everything is consensual. But what is consent? Within the context of sex, consent is an agreement between two people to engage in a sex act. In order for consent to be viable, it has to be between two adults, freely given, clear, informed, and don't forget, revocable. This one. Consent can be revoked at any time during a sex act. It can feel a little awkward to ask for consent, but kiddos, there's nothing more sexy than clear communication. Hey, I had so much fun tonight, and you have like really cute eyes. I would love to kiss you. No? Okay, don't sweat it. Have a wonderful night. When someone doesn't offer consent, that's okay. It's an opportunity to respect someone's autonomy and their right to say no. And it's a chance for us to learn to not take someone's boundaries personally, and an opportunity to meet them gently. Now, class, what if you're just a little bit kinky? First question, what's a kinkster's number one favorite thing? Is it rope? Is it leather, latex, paddles? Is it working through formative childhood trauma via the fantasies that said trauma left us with? No, none of those. Can any good boys and girls guess it? That's okay. Mr. Daddy, Teacher, Master, Sir is here to help. The answer is acronyms. Duh. BDSM, S&M, DDLG, MS, OP, CBT, SSC, PRIC. Acronyms. But today, class, our acronym is RAC. RAC stands for Risk Aware Consensual Kink. Little ones, any action you participate in, whether it is kink or out there in the big scary world, comes with risk. Some choices we make come with more risk than others, like deciding we want to put clothespins on our little tender bits, or maybe you want to engage in a situationship, or maybe you want to buy a tortoise and you didn't consider that it's going to live a real long time, and that comes with a whole lot of long-term responsibility. All of it comes with risk. What matters in a kink setting is that we're aware of the risks so that we can offer and receive informed, eager consent. Within the philosophy of RAC, and as a whole, with any interaction between two life forms, what matters most is consent. A big portion of consent and being able to offer consent is education on what we are consenting to. This is how we make sure we are as safe as possible when we choose to take on risks. We make ourselves aware, we educate ourselves, and then we are able to make informed choices about our consent. RAC exists as an ethical framework through which we can think about consent and risk. Before there was RAC, there was another acronym. We love acronyms. This acronym has been largely abandoned, but it is SSC, Safe, Sane, Consensual. SSC and RAC share the fundamental principle that what matters at the center of any kink act, like any sex act, is consent. Where they draw distinctions is that RAC states that there is inherent danger and risk involved with any kink, and that risk awareness is the only way we can approach kink in a safe way. RAC is also distinct from SSC philosophically and that it drops the word sane from the acronym. This, kids, is because sanity is subjective. Is it sane to let someone relieve bodily fluids on you? Is it sane to want 10 people to relieve bodily fluids on you? Who's to say? Is it safe? I don't know. It's not my kink. But if it's yours, educate yourself on the risks and then dip your toes in. Is it sane? Who am I to say what is or what is not sane? I and no one can be the judge of what is or what is not sane. That is a question that has huge social implications that extend far past the context of kink. Here's another big acronym. That's a big boy like me. YKINMATO. Your kink is not my kink, and that's okay. Your kink is okay. And it's not anyone's place to tell you whether or not it is sane, or to judge you, or to shame you for your kink. Being as safe and ethically minded as possible is the goal with RAC. Staying safe is so much about education, and education in kink is so much about experience, as well as trial and error. It's about experience, trial and error, and understanding risk. It's also about understanding that as we go and as we take risks, we will make mistakes and have to figure out boundaries as we go. Safety with kink is so dependent on what an individual kink is. So, my best advice is to go slow. And while you go slow, make sure you pick and seek out experienced and trustworthy people who you know will take care of and respect your heart, your vulnerability, and your body. You need to play with someone you know will respect your boundaries, and you need to be prepared to respect the boundaries of others. That's what consent is all about. Find someone who ideally is experienced, but who at the very least is willing to engage with and learn and push you within the confines of your boundaries. Use safe words. The universal safe word is red. If you have some big ol' hands on your throat, or you have your big hands on someone else's throat, you want to make sure you have non-verbal cues in place to make sure that everyone's safe. It's difficult to access general resources for kink education. Kink is still very taboo. So much is about trial, error, and experience. You really have to take it slow and steady, get out into the community, and you have to expect to have some growing pains. Some quick book recommendations for education are the new topping book, the new bottoming book, Come Hither, SM 101. For where to find these books and other resources on kink and consent, check the description below. RAC class, you are now aware of RAC. And most importantly, you're now more aware of consent. So, off you go, little ones, out into the world of kink. There will be danger, but that's part of the allure. So, do your best to educate yourselves and stay safe. Remember, I'm Professor Davin Strong, and this was Consent and RAC 101 brought to you by SpankU. Off you go, but first, say, thank you, Daddy. DDLG, Daddy Dominal, that's my thing. I'm a daddy. Okay.